No, buenas en Suleawina. Okay. like even like 2 weeks ago, 1 month ago. Mm. Mm. I think this is my side in the Canada, I don't know if you have a nan daɗe na ce na ya kamata na zo in ganki. Amma ke kika yi da na zo cikin azumi na zo na ganki. Ya mana initially na ce kamar na zo cikin azumi. Hello guys, welcome. And I think it's 5 minutes past the hour of 5. So let me just start with the mandatory training. No, sorry. Yeah, with the mandatory training. Sorry, so I'll start sharing my screen very soon so that we'll go through the mandatory training. As we've been doing always. Welcome once again to our weekly seminar. And today, as always, we have a very important topic to treat. So before we start, we just have to go to the mandatory training, and then we'll move quickly to the day's business. So I'm going to start sharing my screen, and then we can go through the training. Okay. So let's see. Already done this, but okay. Let's have it rolling.
Ningyo, Episode 702, Attack of the Apps. Security topic, malicious apps. Starring Tia Carrera as Heidi. Over 300,000 Android users have been hit with banking Trojan malware that allows hackers to steal login credentials for banking websites. The malware was installed on victim devices when they downloaded malicious apps from the Google Play App Store. Interior, high-end restaurant.
You really didn't need to pick up the tab, Maya.
Are you kidding? It's my pleasure. And I assure you, it has nothing to do with you being the decision maker on what could be our first 7-figure account.
I'm sorry, but your card's been declined. Would you like to try another one?
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. I think.
Here, Maya. Let me pick it up.
No. I insist. If I could just find my my other card. It's it's got to be in here somewhere.
Interior, CISO's office.
Can you believe that, Heidi? I was mortified. I finally found my personal card, but by then everything was so awkward. Any idea why the card got denied?
Actually, you're not the only account manager who's had this issue. In fact, I was about to send a company-wide email about this exact thing.
Don't tell me. Someone scanned a bad QR code?
No, this time it was a malicious app. See, several of our employees used their corporate issued credit cards to make purchases from an online retailer that subsequently had their data breached. That data included our credit card information, which allowed hackers to max out those cards.
Okay, but how did the malicious app factor in?
That's how all this started. The retailer's data was stolen because one of their employees downloaded a malicious app that allowed hackers to get onto their network through the employee's personally owned device.
I figured apps that are made available through a mobile application store are fully screened for malware.
You're not alone in that assumption. They are, but some are tricky enough to get past the malware scanners.
Oh, geez. I'm downloading apps all the time. How can I check to make sure I'm not installing anything malicious?
There's a few things you can do.
Heidi and Maya sail a digital treasure map of the App Store.
For starters, check to see how many users the app has. If it's not very many, say less than a few hundred, that should send up a big red flag. Along the same lines, you can check the user reviews on the app. If it has thousands of reviews and people are raving about it, it's less likely to be malicious. Finally, you should delete old apps you haven't used in a while. The fewer apps you have, the lower your risk. Oh, one more thing. You could also check the published date and verify the developer is legit.
Maya gets a notification.
Oh no, it's an email from Garrett. Well, dinner must have gone well enough.
You landed the account?
He just put pen to paper, closing the deal.
That's amazing, Maya. A huge win for you and a huge win for the company. Great job.
Teachable takeaways. While mobile app stores do their best to screen for malicious apps, they don't catch all of them. Warning signs of malicious apps include having few users, as well as asking you to install frequent updates. If you haven't used an app in a while, it's a good idea to get it off of your device, thereby limiting your risk.
Okay, today I'm just going to take it once. We wouldn't repeat it again. We're just going to take the quiz and then we'll move straight to today's business. So let's see. I've already taken it, so I'm just going to reset it and then we'll be able to take it. So it's a malicious app quiz. The first question is a true or false answer. So you help me to answer these questions, guys. So if you have the answer, just feel free to unmute yourself and then mention the answer to me. Thank you very much. Mobile application stores can scan all apps for malware. So there is no way for malicious apps to pass this screening. True or false, mobile application stores can scan all apps for malware. So there is no way for malicious app to pass this screening. True or false? True or false? Guys, can you hear me? Guys, can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Okay, so kindly feel free to mention it because I can't see my screen unless I come back to this point. So just mention it for me. You unmute yourself and then you mention it. Can you hear me, guys? I want to have a confirmation. Can you guys hear me?
Hello, we come.
Okay, good. So the first question is true or false? The mobile application. Someone said false. So let me take and see. Okay, we'll move to the next one. One good way to limit your risk is to, one, never install any updates on your applications or on your apps. Remove all apps from your device. Uninstall apps you haven't used in a while. So which one is the correct answer?
The last one, uninstall apps you haven't used in a while.
Thank you, Guy. The last one is, what are some of the red flags that can give away that can give away a potential malicious app? What are some of the red flags that can give away a potential malicious app? The developer's name, contact information, or profile seems illegitimate. The published date is too recent, or the app asks you to install frequent updates. The app doesn't have more than a few hundred users and doesn't have too many reviews. All of the above.
The last one, all of the above.
All of the above. So let's complete and see if, okay, that's good. Congratulations, it's 100%. So thank you very much, guys, for helping me to kind of take care of these questions. We're back and we're going to go through today's business. As usual, it's our weekly threat intelligence seminar. And today, as always, we are going to continue with another important topic. But this week, we've decided to, take a topic that has to do with a remote access Trojan. That's RATS, remote access Trojan. So when we say a remote access Trojan, I think I know something may ring bell in your head or in your ears. You may think of something, you will start thinking about something. So that is what is important. When we talk about remote access, we think about remote, we think about access, and then the Trojan comes in. So can someone, in his own words, in his own understanding, tell us what this whole thing is about, a remote access Trojan? Can someone help us with that? Can someone tell us something about remote access? What he or she knows about remote access Trojan? Okay, I think everyone is quiet. So let's move. So the intro, we look back to 2015, where an incident happens in Ukraine. And one thing I've realized about this particular country or this side of Europe is that every single malicious software that is being introduced has a link to this particular area. It's either that is the first point where this particular software or malicious software is being tested, or it is emanating, it is coming from that particular area. I don't know whether someone have also observed that, because per the recent things that I've done in these areas, I've realized it always has a link with a particular area or region in this world. So that is why when you want to check for any, malicious sites and everything, using VirusTotal and other applications, other softwares that manage to check for authenticity or how malicious a particular site is. As soon as it's coming from one area, it flags it as a malicious site. So this happens in 2015 in Ukraine. The reason why I'm saying that, you can also check whenever you see any software or any websites or anything that is coming from Ukraine and the rest of those areas, and you try to check whether it is a legitimate source, you'll be told that it is, you'll be told that the software will flag it as a malicious site. So we all have to be careful when we're dealing with softwares or sites that are coming from this particular area. We have to check and recheck it for. So in 2015 highlighted how widespread and harmful RATS, if we say RATS, that's a remote access Trojan. Attackers use RATS malwares to turn off the power of 80,000 people. To do this, they logged into SCADA device via remote access to a computer that is supervisory control and data acquisition. That's the meaning of SCADA. Supervisory control and then data acquisition. These scammers were able to gain access into their system, and then through that they were able to kind of deny people access to electricity supply. they off all the lights, and over 80,000 people slept in darkness or something of that sort. So they control the nationwide energy supply. That's what the whole thing is saying. So the software allows the attackers to access sensitive resource because it gave them the necessary elevated privilege to do so by authenticating the user on the network. The access critical machines and control city resources and infrastructure. This is one of the biggest threats posed by remote access Trojan. So it started an example. It's also that it could happen even elsewhere in Ghana or any other place. Because an attacker, if he gain access into the system of ECG or something, he can use that remotely to control whatever is happening within the system. We have critical national infrastructures that we always try to protect our cybersecurity. Experts, the likes of hospitals, airports, the railway service, the water supply, the electricity supply, and the rest of it. These are sensitive areas that we are much concerned about when it comes to protecting. These are critical national infrastructure that needs to be well protected, because if these particular assets, these particular areas are being infected with malware, such as the Trojan, remote access Trojan, the damage or the harm that could be caused by these hackers would be huge. Imagine a hacker taking over at the system of Korle Bu Teaching Hospital in Ghana and remotely controlling whatever is happening within Korle Bu. You can imagine the number of people that will lose their lives. You can imagine the number of people that will be given wrong medications and the rest of the things. This is provided the whole system is being, the whole thing is being put into, it's being computerized. So if it is being computerized, you can imagine the kind of damage that this particular hacker could cause. So there is legitimate remote control software that allows an administrator to remotely access devices. So this particular software allows this administrator to allow to kind of control software. For example, the administrator uses remote desktop protocol, that's RDP, but the Windows server mostly manage a system at another location. So sometimes you don't necessarily need to be in the area where your system is. You can remotely control that because the system grants that access. So if you are doing it for a legitimate source, and then you can imagine the kind of things that you can do to your system, add, take out, make additions, make subtractions, like updates and the rest of the things. But if a malicious person is to get this access, you can imagine the kind of thing that he can also do. So remote access have the same remote control functionalities as RDP, remote desktop protocol. Okay, they are used for malicious purposes. Attackers always try to program their software that it not be detected. However, attackers using a remote access Trojan run the risk of being detected exactly when the user is sitting in front of the screen and sees the mouse moving. This is because when a remote access Trojan is being infected in your machine, the attacker can use a keyboard, he can control the mouse, he can take a shot with the cameras, he can do almost everything remotely. He will not be by your machine, but he'll be able to control the machine. So that is what makes it very serious. So one thing that will make you, become aware of a malicious activity happening within your system or your machine is that you get and then you see your mouse moving without you touching anything. So you should know that someone is sitting somewhere controlling your machine. So when it comes to the definition of this remote access Trojan malware, it gives attackers full access and control over a user system, including access to mouse, keyboard, as well as all files and network resources. So remotely, the attacker could sit anywhere and then have access to all your files sitting in your system. He can manipulate it, he can add, he can take out, he can just check and then do whatever he wants within your system while sitting elsewhere. Instead of destroying files or stealing data, a remote access Trojan virus gives the attacker full control of the desktop or mobile devices, allowing them quietly to browse through applications and files while breaching common security mechanisms such as firewalls, intrusion detection system, and then the authentication control to be able to deal with this. So you know that when someone wants to access something within your system, it has to pass through the normal intrusion detection mechanisms like the physical ones and then the, technical ones and what have you. And as well, he has to go through authentication, entering his credentials and what have you. But with this Trojan, he doesn't need all those things. He's already sitting in your system and can have access to so many things within your particular machines or within the system without him having to authenticate himself or something of that sort. So he is like the one using the machine. You understand? So this is a malware that an attacker uses to gain full administrative privileges and remote control of a target computer. So they are often downloaded along with seemingly legitimate user requested programs such as video games, are sent to their target as an email attachment via phishing email. So once host system is compromised, intruder use the backdoor to control the host. So how we get infected, in most cases, comes as a result of a phishing email being sent. There's this particular spyware that is famous now. Before, it's only few people who are aware of it, but now it's all over. That's Pegasus. They use this system to infect their targets. So this particular attack, it doesn't only sits on or depends on, it doesn't only goes with a hacker trying to take over somebody's system. No, even the security system, security services sometimes do that to kind of gather more intelligence from their victims, from their targets. Imagine maybe you are the head of the security, team in the country, okay, or you are with the security team, and there is this particular group that are, trying to commit a particular crime. So you want to have a first-hand information as to what they want to do, how they're going to do it, and the rest of the things. So these are some of the methods that you can use. In fact, their machines, if you have access to any, maybe their phone, you have a phone number of one of them, you can infect that particular person's phone, and then by infecting it, if you are successful, be able to successfully infect his phone with the malware, you can track, you can use that to get all the information that is circulating amongst them, and you can use that to also know all the other members that are in that particular group, provided that person is using an internet-connected phone. If he's using a YAM or something of that sort, it's difficult for you to be able to extract certain information, because when you infect the person's machine or phone with that malware, you expect that the person should always be online. It should be internet connected, so that you'll be using that to gather all the information that you want to get. And as well, when you are doing that, you have to be wary with the kind of data that you extract, because the moment you start fetching information, start taking information from his machine, his data will start dropping. So if the person is connected to a Wi-Fi, it is the safest way and then the easiest way to gather more information within the shortest time. So if you realize the person is using a machine that is connected to a Wi-Fi, so it's a good time for you to extract all the information that you want to get from his phone, being it his contacts, information, his pictures, his what have you, anything that you want to get, you can get it, because that person is connected to a Wi-Fi and he wouldn't know the amount of data that he's using. But if he's using a cellular data or a phone data that is being provided, so as soon as you start using it, you realize that a message will be sent to him when he uses some of the data. For instance, if he used 50%, MTN or Vodafone or any other person will send him a message that, hey, you've extracted or you've used 50% of your available data. So the person will realize that I'm not doing anything with my data. How is it that I've used 50% of it? So in that regard, you don't have to go in and then extract more information, or you can wait, maybe late at night you can do that. As a security officer, I'm just saying, from the point of a security officer, if you want to extract any information from a target, okay? But if you're a hacker and you are using that for a malicious activity too, I wouldn't advise you do that, because I would not tell you how to do it. I would even love that you do it. I mean, you make errors, you make mistakes in that the person that you've been infected will be able to know that something malicious is happening at the background. So how remote access is useful to hackers or even the security personnel who wants to extract, who wants to get information from from criminals. Okay, RAT works just like a regular remote control, software, with the only difference being that RAT is programmed to remain hidden so that it cannot be detected by antivirus program or the device owner. So you try to hide yourself from any, scam. So the first software that I spoke about that the security agencies use whenever you try to kind of check for any, malicious activity happening within your machine, the, software will automatically go off because something that shouldn't be detected. So the same applies to this remote access Trojan. It's also hidden so that no antivirus will be able to detect it. It usually comes in a package with other malwares that help the attacker achieve their goal. For example, it is uncommon for a RAT program to also contain a keylogger. A keylogger runs silently in the background. So I think we once talked about this keyloggers, and that this information will extract the kind of information that you key in using your keyboard or any other, input device that you key in within your system. For instance, if you are trying to log into your bank, you enter your username and your password, automatically the keylogger will extract that information. It's just like someone standing behind you whilst you are typing your password. You'll be able to know your password. So this is one thing that makes this, Trojan, remote access Trojan very, very dangerous, because someone will be sitting somewhere and then you'll be seeing your login in credential. And attacker must first trick the user into installing the RAT, either by downloading the malicious software from the internet or by opening an executable file. This is how we get infected. You try to send a file that is being infected with, has a malicious link, expecting that the victim will just click to it. So by so doing, you infect him with the malware. If an attacker has remote access to the computer account that the computer is logged into, such as email, at risk. For example, email allows attackers to send malicious messages to other potential victims by exploiting the authenticated email accounts on the device they control. So the target spear phishing attack, that's attackers distribute email with a malicious attachment to the targets, and then the data is extracted. So when the attacker designed the email and then has a link to it, that's a phishing method. So the phishing email, the user fails to understand a social engineering trick, and then he opens the malicious attachment. So the targeted user, the system, is exploited. So compromised system RAT is installed on the system. So this is the cycle. The first, he design or draft the message with a malicious link, send it to a target. The target saw the message. He wasn't able to differentiate between a legitimate message and then the malicious one. So he saw the link and then he decided to just click on the link to see whatever is there, and then he got infected. So once he is infected with a remote access Trojan, then RAT is used to gain access to what additional system on the internal network. So once he's there, he tries to escalate his privilege. He tries to move further from where he is seated, so to the system, because he now has access into the system, and then he tries to manipulate the system. So the data is stolen. Then from there, he steals the kind of information that he wants to steal, and then he extrapolates the data. He takes the data that he wants to take to whatever he wants to do with it. So how it works, because RAT provides a backdoor, it enables administrative control. It empowers the intruder to do almost anything on the target computer, including monitor user behavior such as keystrokes, as I mentioned earlier, through keyloggers and spyware. So he looks at the kind of information that you key in using any, input device, and then access confidential information such as credit card and social security numbers. So these are some of the targets, some of the important things that the targets that a hacker may look through when he gets access into his targets, system. He activates a system webcam and record video. So he can also use that to kind of take a shot of you, a video, a picture of you. Maybe sometimes you decide to play around the machine, maybe you take off your dress or something, you're naked, you'll be able to kind of snap it, take a shot of it, and then he can use that to blackmail you or any other sensitive, picture or video that he can get from you, that he can also use that to extract money from you. So he can use the Trojan access to be able to kind of do that. And then you distribute viruses and malwares as well as launch ransomware, format drives, it deletes downloads or alter files and then file system. So these are some of the things that the hacker or any malicious person that has access into your system, that's got access into your system through a Trojan, through a rat, could do. Sometimes he can even take a picture of you with their phone without you seeing any blink, anything. Like you just take a picture of you because he has a spyware or a remote access being installed on your machine, so he can use it to kind of do anything that he or she wants to kind of do. So rats can be difficult to detect because they usually don't show up in the list of running programs or tasks. So the action they perform can be similar to the legitimate applications in an intruder often method, unlike the cybersecurity. So sometimes when you want to kind of, check, sorry, let me just come. When you want to check some of the activities that is happening, you can just go to your, Windows, you right click on the Windows side, you go to Task Manager. So with this Task Manager, you can see the programs that are running on your system. So in case you are not okay, you want to check, you can still go ahead and then you check through the system, the programs that are running through your system. When you go to process, you can see the system, the programs that are running. So if you see any suspicious program that is running that you're not familiar with, you can, take the name, you Google it and try to search for the meaning of that particular name, because mostly they use different names that they can. So by so do you be able to tell, oh, this particular system, main program that is running in my system is a malicious one or is a legitimate one or something of that sort. So you can use that to be able to, know whether there is any, program running on your system that's to be or that has any link with the, rats or remote access Trojan. Why is it a threat? So, remote access can be used to spy and blackmail attempts. So by deploying a rat, threat actors can gain access to the victim's smartphone camera and microphone and compromise their privacy. So they can take pictures of users and their surroundings to carry out further attack or blackmail users into some types of agreements, such as providing ransom money or top secret data. So it can be used as a system, as a tool for spying on you. By spying, they can use the information that they've gathered, okay, to blackmail you. That is the meaning. So for instance, if, as I stated earlier, you have a phone and then a picture was taken from you being naked or something of that sort, and then the attacker used that picture to blackmail you that if you don't pay anything, I'll kind of, put the picture on the social media or something of that sort. The picture that has your face, everything. So I know anyone who hears this will act quickly to try to save himself from any embarrassment. So these are some of the bad things that a rat could do, not only to your machine, but to your phone as well. So that is why we should be worried with whatever applications we download, with whatever links we click on. So it can be used for crypto mining. It is common for threat actors to use rats to mine Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies on victims' computer. Attackers can generate significant earnings by spreading rats across numerous devices. So you all know, cryptocurrency mining and the kind of, energy that is being used and the kind of money that it comes with, then you have to pay some bills. So if the attacker is able to compromise your system, he can use that to mine without having to kind of pay for any, charges that has to do with electricity. The charges will be on you because he is using it remotely without your knowledge or something of that. So distributed denial of service attack, it can be used to flag a particular server, because if an attacker has compromised so many devices, okay, remotely, he can sit somewhere and then be able to use those particular machines or bats to form a batnet to be able to use that against any particular server that he or she wants to flood, and then he can use that to send packets to those server and then be able to flood the server. Remote file storage, to ensure that their accounts and operations aren't shut down by authorities. Cyber criminals may use rats to store illegitimate content on victim's device. So he can use that whenever he has any particular information that he think, this particular information, if I have it on my machine, it could bring problem to me. He can decide to save it on your machine because he has access to your machine and he controls that machine. So he can use that as a stamping site to be able to save any illegitimate or any, bad, information or that he wants to keep. So industrial system compromise. Threat actors often deploy rats to take control of large-scale industrial systems, such as water and electricity. As I mentioned earlier on, these are critical infrastructure that a country is hosting on or depending on. So if an attacker is able to take control of this particular, infrastructure, you can imagine what will happen. Like, for instance, the water supply for Ghana, Greater Accra is being taken over by a malicious actor. He can decide to kind of block the water supply, and then people will be without water for days or months. The same applies to electricity. The same applies to airline, that's the aviation system. The same applies to the hospital. The same applies to the financial institutions, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the things that the hacker could use the remote access to do, and this is what makes it so dangerous. So 10 common attack vectors. We have the ransomware, we have the phishing email, we have the misconfigured devices, we have the trust relationship, we have DDoS, distributed denial of service attack, poor encryption, we have malicious employee, we have weak passwords, compromised credentials, and then software vulnerabilities. How to detect a remote access Trojan? I'm going to pause here for a while. If anyone has any question, you can bring it. Just taking a sip of water. So if you don't have any question, we're going to continue. So rats are good at evading detection and events, and even strong antivirus softwares can miss them, while only specific scans may detect the presence of rats. The following 5 signs should be observed when searching for a remote access Trojan. So whenever you see these particular signs in your system, you should be able to know that you don't need to wait for anyone to tell you that your system is being infected. First, failure of antivirus program. So you try to scan your system with an antivirus, and then the scanner or the virus is failing, antivirus is failing to be able to scan for viruses. So an antivirus program that's constantly crashing or responding slowly may signify an infection. So when you see that, you should know that your system has been infected. So you try to scan your system and you realize that it's as if the antivirus is not working, it's not scanning, it's too slow, or it starts and then it breaks, it starts and then it breaks. So you should know that there's something fishy going on in your system. Slow system performance. So when your system is automatically becomes slow before your system is very fast and then everything seems good, but all of a sudden things change within your system and then the system is slow. So RAS runs in the background and eats up a lot of processing power. So because it's a lot of processing power, it makes the normal, activity that you want to do with your machine becomes what slow because there's another, application running behind. So a computer that's running considerably slow without any apparent reason might be what's infected by a remote access Trojan. So website redirects, if the browser requests are constantly redirected or web pages aren't loading, then it can be a sign of what's a rat infection. Unidentifiable files, any files or programs that seems unrecognizable weren't downloaded or installed by the user should be observed keenly as they could be what linked to Trojan virus. Operational webcam, the indicator lights on a webcam typically turns on when a program accesses a webcam. So such as for the video conferencing applications. However, if the webcam indicator lights turns on for no apparent reason, it could be a sign of what remote access Trojan infection. So these are 5 things that when you see, you should know that the system has been what's taken over. So some of the examples of this remote access Trojan are what's the back orifice. This rootkit is one of the best known example of what a rats. We have the beast. This remote access uses a client server architecture. And even though it was developed in 2002, it is still being what's used today to target both old and new Windows system. So that is the beast. The Sakura, also known as the Securum, and Viper. These are rats first emerged in 2012 and was used throughout 2015 in targeted attacks. So the actor used Sakura to run interactive command and download and execute additional components. So the black shades, these self-propagating rats spread by sending out links to the infected user social media contacts. So the black shades, that is the one in charge of sending, links to the infected user social media contacts. All your contacts, they can use you and be sending, links to other members on your social media link. Okay, the cross rats is particularly difficult to discover and can target most OSs, including Linux, Windows, Mac OS, and the Solaris. So the Cypher, which is written in .NET, stays in the background and views the user's browser history, looking to steal cryptocurrency-related transactions data. So the Mirage, a type of malware, also known as the APT, Advanced Persistent Threats, is run by a state-sponsored Chinese hacking group that carry out data exfiltration activities against military and government targets. So I stated earlier on, it's not only hackers or malicious persons that use this. Sometimes even nation states do use that. I made mention of Pegasus, which is being used by nation states to kind of ensure, to kind of check the activity of people or group living or sub-state actors or sub-state groups living within a particular country. If I make mention of sub-states, actors, I'm talking about the terror groups, I'm talking about the ethical groups and the rest of the things. These are all groups that mostly do cause problems within a particular city. So whenever there is any attack within a city, within a country, it is mostly by these particular sub groups. It could be maybe ethical group, or it could be a group of people. It could be anything. So whenever you have people like that with a bad intent, it's good that you check them. So to be able to check them well, you need to infect their machine. That is why I cited the earlier example that you try to get the contact details of one person, and you have to make sure that that person is using an internet connected phone. If I say internet connected, I'm not talking about 2G. I'm talking about 3G phones. That is phones that are connected to the internet. So if there are phones that are not connected to the internet, you can't extract, you can't do anything. It has to be internet connected before you can be able to get any information. So how to mitigate it? So if I said every machine that needs to be infected needs to be connected to the internet. If you want to take care of it, you have to disconnect it. So you have to disconnect devices. The first step to take after detecting the suspicious activity or the presence of rats is to what? Disconnect the device from the network. Okay, so you take it out of the network. This prevents additional malicious activity by severing the remote connection of the installed rats from the attacker. You update antivirus and firewalls. You keep antivirus software and firewalls up to date, and refrain from downloading programs or opening attachments that aren't from the trusted source. At the administrative level, you block unused ports, turn off idle services, and then you monitor outgoing traffic. So the ports, the only port that needs to be left open in our 443, that is HTTPS ports or port 80. These are the ports that need to be left open. Aside then, all ports needs to be closed, because we don't want any unwanted intrusion. You deploy multi-factor authentication. This happens when the attacker, through his infection, was able to get access to maybe your login and credentials. If you have multi-factor authentication, that reaches to authenticate any user of a particular system. As soon as he logs in with your system, with your information, the request will come for him to provide the additional layer of that security. That is the other code that is being sent from what he has. Okay, so if he doesn't have access to that, it will be very difficult for him to be able to enter into your account. So it's important that you have a multi-factor authentication being activated, and then you avoid suspicious link and attachments. Whenever you see any link that you don't think it's legitimate, or you don't have any business doing with that link, I don't advise you click on that link. You install the latest upgrades as far as your operating system is concerned, and any other software, you have to make sure that you have an updated version of your software and operating system. You use an intrusion detection system, the IDS. So this an intrusion detection system used to monitor network traffic and for detecting anomalies or suspicious activity in the network. So intrusion detection mechanism should be in place to be able to check whoever comes in and out of your system. You employ the principles of least privilege. It is very important, principle of least privilege. You assign privilege to people per what he or she is there to do. If you have a worker, or maybe someone who is coming to fix something within the system, within your organization, you have to grant him access to the only area that he needs to work in. You don't have to give him extra access to other areas that he doesn't have any business doing there. So the principle of least privilege is a computer system concept that promotes a minimal access to a system and resources. So the least amount of privileges that's required for a job is granted initially and sealed up as needed. So the limited access can serve as a roadblock to threat actors from getting full control of your system. So I think this will kind of bring us to the end, to the end of, to the end of the presentation. I don't know what is happening. Let me just, okay. So this will bring us to the end of the presentation. And I think I'm coming back to the house. If anyone has anything, you can bring it on so that we'll see how best okay, so that is it. And I think I'm done. I'm back to the house. If anyone has anything, he can bring it on.
So I was going to ask how different Trojan rat is different from denial of service attack.
Come again?
I said I was going to ask how rat is different from DDoS.
Okay, distributed denial of service is the activity whereby the hacker, okay, after getting access into different machines that he used as bats, he has a combination of these machines to become a batnet, okay, and then he used that to flood the server. So RAT is a system whereby a hacker is being able to infect a system, a machine, a phone with a malicious software that he uses that software to kind of, use the machine, okay, use the machine whilst the owner of the machine is also using that machine. I hope you're getting me. He's not denying the owner access to his machine.
Yes.
Okay. The
Okay.
owner is
Yes.
using his own machine, but he is using the machine like it's an undercover thing that he's able to, do whatever he wants to do, extract whatever information that he wants to extract from that machine without denying the owner of that machine access to his machine. But with the distributed denial of service, you stop that machine from acting, from working at all, because you send so many information, so many requests to that particular server to the extent that the server cannot respond, and then everything got what's flooded, and then the server is shut down completely. So that is the distributed denial of service. It is distributed because you use different compromised machines. Okay. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So any other thing? If not, we wouldn't waste people's time. I will thank everyone who is able to join us today for this presentation. This is what we do every Wednesday around this time. And we always come up with a good topic, with a new topic. And we always try to open the session after the presentation for any question or anything that needs to be addressed. As we've been doing always, on every Friday, we have our orientation service or session coming on. This is being taken by, a colleague, Daniela. She's the one in charge of the orientation service. We urge each and every one of you to try as much as you can to also join us there, as you get to hear more about the good things that SoftAfrique is doing. SoftAfrique is here to help all of us to kind of have, to kind of develop a love or develop an interest into cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is the new direction. Everything in this world now is about computer, is about the system, and everything in that system needs to also be protected. So if you are always working with a machine and we don't have anyone to police that, anyone to make sure that things done there are in the right way, then I think we'll be having problem in the future. So that is why cybersecurity is here to help us have a secured environment whilst we're surfing the internet, to help us have our asset being well protected, and to as well inform us about the dangers around us, both physically and remotely. So come to South Africa, join us. We have various programs right going through. We have the hands-on, which runs for a year. That you'll be taking through all the tools that you need to know as far as cybersecurity is concerned. You'll be, given a virtual machine, or a virtual machine will be explained to you, and then you can use your virtual machine for any demonstration. And then you have access to so many, hands-on. If you have any question, anytime, any day, anywhere, you can still come to us. People are there to attend to your needs. And after your program, we try to, design your CV with a well-tailored, information as far as your area of expertise is concerned. And then we as well upload it to various job sites for you to be able to get into cybersecurity work proper and then earn more money, because people are making, huge money in the area of cybersecurity. So we don't want to enjoy it alone. We want everyone to also be with us, come with us, join us to move on this, success, path. So we are looking forward to see every one of you. Those who have not registered with South Africa can come, and then you can just come and you will take you through. If you like everything about South Africa, you can come and then join us, and then we can train you to become a cybersecurity expert. We've seen people who have come, who have joined South Africa without any knowledge into cybersecurity, but now they are making it big in the cybersecurity environment. So we urge each and every one of you to try as much as you can to speak to our agents, and then try to join us. And then I know you will never regret that. So from me here, I will say we are bringing today's session to an end. Next week, Wednesday, God willing, we'll come up again with another, topic. But hopefully next week we'll come with a hands-on, God willing. We'll do some 1 or 2 demonstrations for everyone to see that we don't only do theory, but we as well try to take you to the practical environment for you to have a feel of what is happening in whatever we are saying. So I thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope next week we'll see more people joining. Thank you, and may God be with us all. And I will say Merry Christmas in advance to all of us here, and may God be with us all. Thank you very much, and bye from here. Okay, I think Mr. Matthew, your hand is up. Do you have anything for us? Matthew? Mr. Matthew? Oh, he's just waving. Okay. Then Mr. Matthew, bye-bye.